Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Frankly Speaking with Vibhuti Jha. Today we have entered into the new year. We have all, I'm 100% sure we have all had a great celebration welcoming the new year as we do every year. But what's different this time? One thing is definitely clear. We have stepped out of teens and we stepped into a formal 20s, which will last for a very, very long time, at least much beyond my lifetime. So today we are going to talk about events that in 2019 that have shaped the dialogue, the narrative of many issues around the world, in India and the United States, which will remain our primary discussion point. However, we live in a remarkably interconnected world because of technology. News travels fast. Thanks to Twitter, Facebook, we are all authors, we are all reporters, we are all editors, and we express ourselves sometimes with an enormous sense of anonymity that nobody would know, because your messages are encrypted, so you are safe. However, what is also true is a big brother is watching. Once you put something on the social media, the world knows what you are thinking, and people, big data guys, make an analysis of that. To discuss this ramifications of this entire 2019 going forward into the new decade, I have great pleasure in welcoming Chief Correspondent of PTI, Press Trust of India, Mrs. Yoshita Singh. Yoshita, welcome to this particular program.
Thank you. Lovely
And she heads the Chief Correspondent of PTI for New York and United Nations. So, and along with him, with her, I have my good old friend, Mr. Junaid Qazi. I think he doesn't need any introduction to the audience of ITV. Mr. Junaid Qazi, as you know, he was once upon a time a very fervent Congress Party supporter. Then he switched over to BJP, and he has now resigned from BJP as well because of his frustration and unhappiness with what BJP has done in the recent past. So we will discuss all of it. I will open the batting with Yoshita. So what do you think happened in 2019 in the Indian context, and since you are UN and New York based, about the global part of it, in the Indo-US relationships, what has happened that you think was the most important event of 2019?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Jha, for having me on your show. It's a great pleasure to be here. I would start off by saying that the one event that stood out for me throughout 2019 was linked to the United Nations, was the designation of Masood Azhar by the United Nations as a global terrorist. This happened on May 1st. It was after a decade of relentless efforts by India and its allies to get Masood Azhar designated as a global terrorist by the United Nations, given the fact that he has masterminded so many terror attacks against India on Indian soil. So it was a relentless effort of a decade, of 10 long years by various people, by a lot of diplomats, by governments, and that finally was there for everybody to see. That decision finally happened on May 1st, 2019. So I think that stood out for me because it highlighted India's say and role and contribution in the fight against global terrorism, and the fact that its allies like the US and other P5 countries, and eventually even China was sort of then came on board to not put a hold on getting Masood Azhar designated. So I think that highlighted, that was a big success and a win for India in its fight against terrorism.
That's a very important point that you brought forth, because individual events people miss to talk about. But I know you have hit the nail on the head in terms of the fact that Pakistan hosts, literally hosts Masood Azhar in its territory. And Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorist activities around the world. Now, Masood Azhar still walks the streets of Pakistan. Is he under house arrest? The answer is no. He was, but he was let go. And Pakistan made a special plea at the United Nations to allow him certain funding. So, Junaid bhai, tell me one thing about it. This Masood Azhar thing is important, and that brings forth the conversation on terrorism as such. It hasn't gone. Pakistan as a country survives, despite the fact that it shamelessly hosted Osama bin Laden in its own territory next to an army camp. army school, training school, and United States did a very powerful Special Forces Act to get him out. How do you see Pakistan? Is Pakistan really caring for the world opinion about terrorism and itself?
The Pakistan issue is government of India did the great job, United Nations did the excellent thing. Terrorists should be behind the bar, should be eliminated from the earth, because they are not the human that I believe in and you believe in this beautiful world. But besides that, right now, like we're talking about what happened in 2019, what is going to happen in 2020. India has its own big issue, NCR and
You know what NRC?
NRC and CAA and NPR. That issue is much bigger, much larger in India itself than this small man in Pakistan. Right now, what government of India is doing, when the country ready to climb, when ready to start, take the lead role in globally, where we push this brake. Now, this is completely unwanted bills, not required for the government, for the Indian people right now. Now you need to prove your citizenship. Every 130 billion people need to prove their citizenship again. Okay, now Amit Shah said, because the thing is, I joined BJP because I see the Prime Minister Modi has courage to make the decision, take the country in the next level. Where he said, he promised, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas. Where he failed every single one of his slogan. It was just a slogan. Sabka Saath.
Like Garibi Hatao of
Garibi Hatao, that was Indira Gandhi, Congress.
Right.
But still, Garibi hati. लेकिन डिवीजन नहीं हुआ, इंडिया का डिवीजन नहीं हुआ. आज ही मैं सुन रहा था, आपका एक राइटर है, क्या नाम है उनका, गुलजार नहीं, नॉट गुलजार, whatever. He was saying India is becoming Hindu Pakistan. That hurt me so bad. जब हम ये बात करते हैं कि इतना खराब हो जाएगा हिंदुस्तान.
But India bin jayega Hindu Pakistan, that has been the Congress party's statement for a very long time.
सर कांग्रेस पार्टी देखिए कांग्रेस पार्टी खत्म हो गई, कांग्रेस पार्टी सत्ता से खत्म हो गई. देयर इज राइट नाउ देयर इज नो अपोजिशन लेफ्ट. कांग्रेस पार्टी अपने कर्मों की वजह से हुई. ये आज उन्हीं के कर्म हैं कि आज इस जब बीजेपी आई है, ये सारे उनके धत्कर्म थे जो आज भुगतना पड़ रहा है कंट्री को. आई एग्री विथ यू 100%. लेकिन जब आपके पास फुल पावर मिली है, मोदी जी को फुल पावर मिली है, हम कंट्री को बेटर बनाने की जगह हम क्यों इतना बुरा जो लॉज लेके आ रहे हैं जिससे सारी कंट्री खड़ी हुई. बुढ़े, नॉट मुस्लिम, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट द वन कम्युनिटी, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट होल इंडिया. एंड इट्स, मैं एक मुस्लिम्स की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ गरीब हिंदुओं की, मैं बात कर रहा हूँ उन लोगों की जो लोगों के पास खाने को नहीं है, जिनकी जीविका 200 रुपये पर डे के हिसाब से चलती है, वो भी लाइन में खड़ा होगा.
Okay.
और ये वही चीज़ हुई जो डिमार्टेशन के अंदर हैपहैज़र्डली बनाया था लॉ. और आपको मैं बताता हूँ, डिमार्टेशन के अंदर जो हम एनआरआईज बैठे हुए हैं, 25,000 करोड़ आज का कैलकुलेट कर ली, जो आप पैसे लेके आते थे इंडिया से 2,000-5,000 रुपये, एनआरआईज का आज तक इंडिया नहीं गया. वो 25,000 करोड़ कहाँ गया? वो 25,000 करोड़ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के पास कोई है साहब? मेरे पास आज भी इंडियन नोट पड़े हुए हैं क्योंकि मेरे पास टाइम नहीं था जाने.
So from your point of view, BJP bringing NRC and CAA has been the worst thing of the year.
The worst thing possible can any government right now. What Vibhuti bhai, what BJP is trying to do, इंडिया को सिटीजन से ख़त्म करके उनको प्रजा बनाना चाह रहे हैं. जैसे राजा होते थे ना कि हम जो भी लॉ पारित करेंगे तुमको चुपचापी से सुनना पड़ेगा। टू बैड, इंडिया अब वो इंडिया नहीं है। इंडिया अब वो इंडिया नहीं है। लोग सड़कों पे निकले हैं और सड़कों पे रातों में जाग रहे हैं, दिन में। यूपी के अंदर एक पुलिस वाला आके बोलता है तुम पाकिस्तान जाओ। हाउ डेयर दैट, एक पुलिस वाले की इतनी हिम्मत कैसे हो जाती है?
वो एक पुलिस वाला है इन द पॉपुलेशन ऑफ 100।
नहीं सर, अगर वो एसपी है, अगर वो एसपी है तो उसके पास
योर पॉइंट अबाउट एनआरसी एंड सीए।
अभी मैं खत्म नहीं हुआ, मेरे पास बहुत सारी चीजें हैं that I need to,
we will talk about that
yes.
as we go forward. The issue here is very simple, that NRC is a Congress creation. Modi didn't create that. Just as, hang on, just as in various times Modi has done many acts, any actions he has taken, Congress party always said ये तो हमारा था, right? तो मोदी ने उसको करके दिखाया। तो अगर ये बात है तो कांग्रेस पार्टी, how legitimate is Congress party to accuse Modi of bringing NRC when they themselves are the authors of that? What do you have to say about that, Yoshita?
On this whole NRC and the CAA bills, laws that have been enacted now, and in the future how they will play out. I mean, again, I agree that the BJP was never silent on it. It wasn't a shock that they just put out on the country people, that it was always on their agenda. And again, the fact that Prime Minister Modi came back with such an overwhelming majority this second term, and whether it was the Ayodhya verdict or it was the other, whether it was the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir, the government has taken a lot of decisions with which people are not happy, and we can see that the youngsters have taken to the streets, they are protesting, they are voicing their opinions on what this government is doing, and I think the government should listen to them as well as to what the youth of the country is saying. It's no longer sitting on Twitter, on social media and just venting out 140 character opinions and then forgetting about it. This time CAA and NRC has brought the youth of the country, not just from one community but from across the spectrum, onto the roads, onto the streets, protesting, voicing their opinion, expressing solidarity with all the other community people as well. So I think the government should listen to what the youth has to say, what the entire country has to say on these legislations that will impact them. But I also feel that this was always on the agenda of the BJP, and as you mentioned, it goes back really to the Congress party and when they were in power. So
here is what I say, that I do agree with one thing, that whenever you want to do the Prime Minister, they have to prioritize their challenges. Whether NRC or CAA was the priority item,
I agree with
that remains in dispute. Whether did they have to do it at this point in time, particularly, and I'll put it this way, particularly when they had notched in huge successes. Whether, see, India was, you talked about demonetization, and we have had plenty of discussions on that. But as you talk about the fact that India had been suffering from what my phrase is, obesity of corruption. Just as Hinduism is a way of life, Indian life had become corruption rooted. अगर आप जानते हैं किसी को सरकार में तो आपका काम होगा, नहीं जानते हैं तो नहीं होगा. That obesity of corruption, when it got into your bloodstream, and you know that if you want to lose weight, that's the easiest thing to do is to gain weight. But you want to lose weight, even a pound takes a month to lose. And that's important. Corruption had to be hit at virtually every level. It is very uncomfortable to lose weight. You have to change your diet, you have to go in an exercise regime, you have to have a new discipline, a new action, because you do not know whether aloo suited you or it was mithai that was causing you excess weight because of the body composition. Right. That having said that, what I want to also emphasize is that perhaps the BJP on NRC and CAA matter, they ought to have had better communication with the people. And I totally am with you on that matter. They needed to convey what's in it and what's not in it. You cannot leave it to the people to read and understand, because that's how the anti-national people or those who wanted to make a political bandwagon, they have succeeded in doing so. About the youth, I'm very much in favor of that, because in my opinion, two things in my opinion were very important in 2019 was coming back of Mr. Modi with such thumping majority, which meant that the people of India had endorsed Modi's actions in first term, and they wanted him to continue with the reformist agenda that he was talking about. The karma yogi that man is, he doesn't sit idle. So he took it upon himself to do that, because I will tell you one thing, in my opinion, if a prime minister of any country achieves rationalization of 370, 335, 35A, corruption, working on so many agendas, he should have been basking in glory. He need not have to prove again that I'm a karmyogi, but he's doing that. Do we need something like that? We'll talk about this right after this short break. Welcome back. Yoshita brought about a very important point about the frustration of the youth in India. Now, looking back, the India's middle class, the younger population, the youth, was so much talked about as the element that would bring India massive demographic dividends. Now, as we know, as a student of economics, politics, and science and everything else, no dividend lasts long if you don't take advantage of that. So one of the biggest challenges of Prime Minister Modi in the coming decade or in his next 5 years would be, how do you prevent this demographic dividend becoming a demographic burden? Because if the age group of youth will advance and the dynamics change completely. So what is required to be done in this atmosphere right now for the demographic dividend to be channeled in the direction that it ought to be? Unfortunately, the whole global economic scenario is not very rosy for anybody. Other than United States, which is breaking all records on economic front, every other country in the world, including China, is going down a massive slowdown. So India's is not an isolated story. Despite economic non-performance, so to say, India is still expected to notch 5 or 6% of growth rate. That itself is better than many countries. So the question then arises is that India's biggest challenge for going forward is availability of skilled people. We have too many bachelors of history, science, chemistry, biology, and whatever, but we do not have enough skilled people to do and complete the agenda of Make in India that Mr. Modi talked about in a big way, to have investments in the country. That's a challenge. And to that end, what do you think the skill development program has achieved, and what must be done now for the youth to be part of the economic progress?
Right. So, like you said, I mean, India's youth has always been shown to the world as India having this demographic dividend. I mean, with a population of less than 35 years of age, it's a young population. It can do a lot, it can achieve a lot in its career span of 20 to 30 years. But in the past few years, definitely with the economic slowdown impacting the entire world, it has impacted India as well. There are not enough jobs for the number of youth that's coming out of graduate schools and engineering colleges and other institutions. So, and also another focus I think should be on the skill development. I mean, I remember doing a story way back in 2011 when Mr. Narayan Murthy had mentioned that the students coming into IITs, he was not happy with the level of their education and the level of understanding of the students coming into IITs because of the coaching institutes. I mean, you go to a coaching institute, you mug up what you have to do, you get into IIT, and then you get into a job, and you're not contributing to inventing things, you're not contributing to discovering things. So it all starts at that level. Good education, good skill development, because then if one person goes on to form a startup, it employs 10 other people. So we need all that kind of infrastructure as well in India, where the youth is encouraged to open their own startups. If there are not jobs in the country, if there are not enough good paying jobs in the country, then what is the other option? The other option should be to have an infrastructure that encourages the youth to have the idea and the thinking of opening their own startups, of then employing other people. So I think that's the need of the hour, really.
That's a very good point, because what is important is that we have for far too long been mind-driven of getting a job, which is nothing wrong in it. Nothing wrong in it, particularly in as many years of India's independence, government became the my-bop for everything.
Yep.
Through public sector undertakings and whatever they were doing, it is government decides everything. Now, Yoshita mentioned about innovation, startups. Now, innovation and startup, entrepreneurship, these were never encouraged in the Indian context, in our education system. how do you think, and I know in the first term, the skill development was a big focus. Skill development was a big focus. We took a delegation from here, from a major school, to do the skill development programs. A lot of people jumped on that entire thing. What do you think, Junaid, when you know the system very well, the way it has worked, what must Mr. Modi do if he were to call you and say, hey, Junaid, I'm very unhappy you left BJP. I was very happy when you left Congress, but I'm very unhappy you are leaving BJP. What is your suggestion to bring employment in the
It's a very good question, and Yoshita said very nice on that issue. Modi ji called me, and I had the meeting with Mr. Amit Shah, and I was impressed with Prime Minister Modi that he wants to do Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. Beautiful nara, beautiful slogan, where the country needed. Best time for that slogan. Sure. And I was there for him. We can have a skill program, we could have create small industries and सारी चीजें, but again वही चीज आती, खाली पेट भजन भी नहीं होता.
Absolutely.
That is true, right? So ये सारी चीजें, make in India, different, it was remain as a slogan. उसके ऊपर country ने काम नहीं किया. कंट्री चली गई, पार्टी चली गई डिफरेंट राउट के ऊपर, ट्रैक ही चेंज कर दिया.
We know your analysis. We understood the analysis which everybody knows. Now I'm asking you a very specific question.
Right.
वो specific question ये है कि आपके विचार में, आपके विचार में आज की तारीख में आप वो कौन सा सजेशन देंगे जो कि easily implementable है? Because India is a challenging country. It is a 1.3 billion challenge. Remember that.
Right.
How would you are an educated man, you are a party man, you are a politician, you are a businessman. So what must happen in India? Step one.
सर स्टेप 1 के अंदर हर गवर्नमेंट ने कोशिश करी मिनी एंड माइक्रो इंडस्ट्रीज लगाने की, एंड डिफरेंट प्रोग्राम्स लेके आई यूथ के लिए कि आप हायर सेकेंडरी पास हैं तो आपको 10,000 रुपये का लोन मिलेगा, आप माइक्रो इंडस्ट्री लगा लें, आप ग्रेजुएट हैं तो आपको 1 लाख रुपए का. लेकिन उसके ऊपर कभी भी उसके ऊपर राइट वॉच सेटअप नहीं किया. गवर्नमेंट ने उसको तरीके से सेटअप नहीं किया. आपने 10,000 रुपये दे दिए, आप बात कर रहे हैं वहाँ के ऊपर कि किस तरह से गवर्नमेंट चल रही है. आप 10,000 रुपये दीजिए, आप 1 लाख गवर्नमेंट से लोन ले लीजिए. तो ये सारी चीज़ें आज भी हैं, वो चीज़ें ख़त्म होने में टाइम लगेगा. और मोदी सरकार के पास इससे अच्छा चांस नहीं है कि 2 चीज़ें मोदी सरकार कर सकती है. मेरा सजेशन उनको है कि एक तो ये कि NPR और CAA का जो लॉ है उसको रोल बैक करें और कंट्री के अंदर नई चीज़ लेके आए जहाँ पे लोगों के रोज़गार डेवलप हो, जहाँ पे लोगों की ज़िंदगियाँ बेहतर हो. उस तरह के काम करें. ये 5 साल नहीं 50 साल रह सकते हैं. यही अगर एनर्जी मोदी जी में और भारतीय जनता पार्टी में रही तो ये 50 साल राज कर सकते हैं. अगर डिवाइसिव पॉलिटिक्स रही तो ये अगले 5 साल के बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी का नाम आपको नहीं दिखेगा.
Politics always has implications and has a fallout.
Right.
For your good deeds, for your bad deeds. Like we have talked in the past, the BJP had 2 members of parliament once. Today they are 300 plus, right? Who is responsible for that? Congress party. Their failures resulted in
I agree with you 100%.
So the point is, politically, the party will get punished in the next 5 years or who knows when.
Right.
That said, the question arises again, the infrastructure part of it, which Yoshita mentioned. We are doing a lot, but there is never enough in India. That's the biggest challenge. वो the bureaucratic mindset जो है इंडिया का, that needs to shift.
Prime Minister Modi has focused on ensuring that there's ease of doing business. The BJP government, I think, has done more than any other previous government to ensure that there's ease of doing business, there's less red tape, there's less bureaucracy. But I think the youth, what it needs today is to, as you said, to get out of that getting a job mindset. I mean, there is enough talent in the country. Even with whether it's young women, girls, they can run businesses from their one-room houses, one-room homes. So I think just to encourage this culture of establishing your startup, establishing a company that you work on at the IITs, at IIMs, I think artificial intelligence is the future. So we have to look at technologies and at industries which are the future, and then train the youth accordingly in those aspects, in those segments, so that instead of the youth coming to countries like America and other countries and then doing really well here and inventing things, and because here I think they have the infrastructure, they have that open mind, they have that flexibility of, okay, they can give 1, 2, 3, 4 years for a startup. But in India, there's a lot of pressure of getting a job, of earning well, of then settling down. But the youth there, and there is enough talent, there are enough ideas.
And that's a very good point, because it's very interesting, which we have been often asked about, that how is it that we Indians do well in this country and so many Indians are not doing as well. But I don't agree with that thought process, because just as Indian doctors have made a great name for themselves, Indian professionals have made great names for themselves in this country, in India there is still something holding back. What is it that holds back? And if you juxtapose India and the United States, यहाँ आपको कोई तंग नहीं करता है, आपको जो करना हो करो. The environment is such. 90% of the economy is in the private sector. Whether you run a mom and pop shop or you do a big thing. But it's a very interesting thing that you said, that the world's largest enterprises, world's biggest philanthropy, world's biggest enterprises were started by people who had received least formal education and from a garage. That's how this happened. So we don't have that culture, because that culture changed in India, and we need a cultural revolution of a kind. Go do it. There's a very interesting statement by Milton Friedman. If you allow the government to run Sahara Desert, there will be shortage of sand in 5 days. So government cannot do business, and that's the attitude that Modi is trying to do of dismantling the public sector enterprises. Now that was a classic example of path to hell is paved with good intentions. You created the commanding heights of economy, but you did not install the work culture that brought about innovation, entrepreneurship and profitability as a concept. Your thoughts?
आपका जो बोलने का है वो गवर्नमेंट क्या हो रही है कि गवर्नमेंट जो भी पॉलिसीज लेके आ रही है वो अपने पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट्स के लेके
That every politician does.
सुनिए,
no exception to that.
सुनिए तो मनरेगा लेके आए कांग्रेस, 100 लोगों को 100 दिन का रोजगार, फ्री का पैसा मिल रहा है, वोटर बन रहे हैं. तो वो माइंडसेट गवर्नमेंट को चेंज करना पड़ेगा अगर कंट्री को आगे बढ़ाना है और स्किल वर्कर को लेके आना है. कि आप अपनी पॉलिटिक्स के लिए आप जॉब क्रिएट मत करिए, आप कंट्री के लिए करिए. और कंट्री के लिए जहाँ पे यूथ को रोज़गार, माइक्रो इंडस्ट्रीज़ ख़त्म हो गई इंडिया से. जो पहले माइक्रो के वो बांस की बनाते थे लोग बाग और डिफरेंट तरीके की स्मॉल इंडस्ट्रीज़, माइक्रो इंडस्ट्रीज़ हुआ करती थी, वो कम्प्लीटली वाइप्ड आउट हो गई. जहाँ पे मैक्सिमम रोज़गार था, बीड़ी के छोटे छोटे कारखाने थे, औरतें बीड़ी बनाती थी, पैकेट बनाती थी, वो आजकल बिल्कुल वाइप्ड आउट हो गए, पता ही नहीं चलता कहाँ है वो लोग. तो उसके ऊपर गवर्नमेंट डिफरेंट पॉलिसीज़ लेके आती है कि भाई हम 10,000 रुपये देंगे, 1 लाख रुपये देंगे, आप बीए हैं 1 लाख रुपये की आप को लोन देगा. तो गवर्नमेंट जहाँ गवर्नमेंट हट जाएगी और स्किल वर्कर को लेके आएगी, नॉट फॉर देयर बेनिफिट, पॉलिटिकल बेनिफिट, कंट्री के बेनिफिट के लिए, कंट्री विल गो इन अ डिफरेंट. जैसे अमेरिका में आज बैठे गवर्नमेंट आप रिपब्लिकन.
You refer to America, right? Every Democratic Party member accuses Trump of being selfish and not doing anything for the country but for his own good. That is the nature of politics. You know it. I don't have to teach you that. Nor do I have to tell you. Politician always does things in the name of the people for his own benefit. Just as the silly argument, in my opinion, frankly speaking, my opinion, when politicians begin to talk about that we are doing this for our grandchildren, that is the biggest lie. That thing that press and the media and you and I, educated people, must expose the politicians on these. Whenever somebody does something, if you say that, if Trump is doing tariff war with China for his benefit, I think that is mistaken. Everybody accepts that he brought China to the table. China was flexing his muscles all the time. So that's what is important here. I totally agree with one thing. India is a big challenge. It's not an easy challenge to unravel the mysteries of India. Everything is a 130 billion, 1.3 billion people problem. Nothing suits everybody. The question here is that will that cultural shift happen? or do you think that cultural shift, BJP doesn't know how to do it? Do they need to do better communication of their plans and goals?
Yes.
So ideas, as you rightly said, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, is a great slogan, just as Garibi Hatao was, just as Barack Obama said, yes, we can. These are inspirational items, but even Obama could not close down Guantanamo, which he wanted to close right on the very first day of the closure. So there is something about the system that is important. You're saying?
I wanted to point out that there are a lot of programs and initiatives that the Modi government has announced, which were aimed at helping, for instance, Startup India, Digital India, skills development, Clean India campaign. I mean, these are very, very important initiatives that have been launched that are making difference on the ground as well. For instance, the Clean India campaign, I mean, to have a toilet in every home, especially in the rural parts of the country and also urban areas. I mean, it's a very, very ambitious program, which is part of the whole clean and sanitation campaign, is part of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Anything that happens in India has global repercussions in the sense that other countries can take lessons from it, because like you mentioned, it's a country of 1.3 billion people, 1.3 billion problems, and how India solves it will help other countries solve it as well. But I think the need of the hour is also for whether it's the youth or whether it's people coming into employment, they also want to see the impact on the ground. I mean, how are these initiatives by the Modi government that were announced in the first term, how are they impacting on the ground? What are the actual consequences and repercussions of that? Are people actually getting the jobs? Is job creation actually happening? If not, then if there is an environment and infrastructure created to help the people develop their own business, to start their own business, that will then employ so many other people. Even if one startup employs 10 people, that's 10 families getting supported. So I think the government needs to show and tell what's the impacts on the ground, how the programs are benefiting, and if they're not benefiting, if they're not achieving what they were supposed to achieve, there should be a track change, modify it, get something else, try something new, because the government has 5 years now.
I totally agree with one thing. I belong to the camp, and I believe that Prime Minister Modi has taken significant amount of initiatives to bring about a change in India. The extent of his success is a question that history will decide, or election will decide, how the people will respond. But stay tuned, we will be back soon after the short break, and we will start with Mr. Junaid Qazi with a specific question that I'll come back to you right after this break. Welcome back. At the request of Mr. Junaid Qazi, he has a few thoughts of his own on an NPR and National Register that is being done by BJP government. Now, just don't forget, originally it was Congress party that launched it. Even Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in the parliament made the statement that people must get accelerated citizenship who have come, because he himself had migrated from that side. So, Junaid bhai, boliye.
So sir, अब जो मेरा प्रार्थना यह है भारत सरकार से कि भारत सरकार इस लॉ के ऊपर और इस बिल के ऊपर बहुत ज़्यादा चिंतन करें और इसको कम्प्लीटली वापस लें, इस बिल को। ये बिल जो है हिंदुस्तान की जो ऑक्सीजन है उसको चोक कर रहा है। ऑक्सीजन मतलब ये कि आप जो एक फूलों का गुलदस्ता है उसको तोड़ रहा है। अच्छा, उससे क्या हो रहा है कि इट्स नॉट ओनली वन रिलीजन और एक डिफरेंट डिवीजन को बात हो रही, ये सबकी बात हो रही। नाउ एनआरसी का अल्टरनेट वो लेके आ गए एनपीआर। हमारे यहाँ सेंसस हर 10 साल में होता था, उसमें 15 पॉइंट होते थे कि आपका पिताजी के नाम, आपके बच्चे का नाम, आपके पास राशन कार्ड है, ठीक है, उन्होंने लिख लिया, चले गए। एनपीआर के अंदर 6 पॉइंट और जोड़ दिए, विच इज़ 21 पॉइंट का बना दिया। उसके अंदर ये है कि आपका पासपोर्ट जो है वो भी वैलिड नहीं, तो आप और हम इंडियन
सिटीजन है लेकिन नॉट काउंटेड फॉर सिटीजनशिप।
सो अब मुझे बताइए कि भारत का पासपोर्ट मैं लेके घूम रहा हूँ और आपके पास मेरे पास भारत का पासपोर्ट है, तो मेरी सिटीजनशिप नल एंड वॉइड हो गई। तो ये कंट्री तो मुझे लात मार के भगा देगी कि आप इंडियन सिटीजन हो।
Do you really think there is a question? नहीं, आप उस बात को लेके,
अच्छा, उसके बाद
do you really think
जी
that the BJP and Narendra Modi and Amit Shah believe that ये NPR करके हम मुसलमानों को देश से बाहर निकाल देंगे? Do you really think it's true? That is the intent.
No.
Is that the intent?
No, that's not the intent.
No. Okay,
लेकिन उस इंटेंट के अंदर क्या है? उस इंटेंट के आप अनकंफर्टेबल बना रहे हैं, डाउटफुल सिटीजन बना रहे हैं. That is the problem. आप माइनॉरिटी को, not forget about the minority. विभूति झा को, अगर विभूति झा के पास 21 पॉइंट नहीं है, एक आदमी आता है सरकारी आदमी जो कि एक जो सेंसस का होता है, वो आपके नाम के आगे डाउटफुल सिटीजन लगा के चला जाता है क्योंकि आपके पास पेपर नहीं.
You are seeing the scope of corruption.
It will be so much corruption कि आप डाउटफुल सिटीजन बन गए, आपके पास वोटिंग पावर खत्म हो गया, आपके पास इलेक्शन लड़ने के पावर खत्म. ये इलेक्शन लड़ रही हैं और इनके पास डाउटफुल सिटीजन का वो लगा हुआ है. मैं रेज करता हूं कि ये शी कैन नॉट बी कंटेस्टिंग फॉर द इलेक्शन.
You mean to say Rahul Gandhi will have a problem?
Everybody can have the problem. Anybody can have the problem. तो ये इस तरह की सिचुएशन को गवर्नमेंट को रोल बैक करना चाहिए. कंट्री में बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, उस प्रॉब्लम के ऊपर वर्क करे. भारतीय जनता पार्टी बहुत आगे जा सकती है अगर इन चीज़ों के ये this should be resolved within a month.
This conversation.
This month के अंदर अगर प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी इसको रोल बैक कर लेते हैं. आसाम के लिए एनआरसी था, बिल्कुल ठीक है, आपने एनआरसी लेके, आपको मालूम है वहाँ पे इन्फिल्ट्रेशन की प्रॉब्लम है. पाकिस्तान के अगर इन्फिल्ट्रेशन प्रॉब्लम, स्टॉप करिए, आपके पास एजेंसीज हैं, पुलिस है, आपके पास सब है, आप उन लोगों को करिए. कहाँ मिडिल ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश के अंदर के आदमी, गांव खंडवे के आदमी का जो जिसका बाप दादा पैदा हुआ, वो उससे आप पेपर मांगेंगे, वो कहाँ से ला के देगा? उसने आपको
So you do agree that it is not directed against Muslims, but it is causing an unnecessary inconvenience to everybody.
To everybody.
Point noted. That
to every single
that
one.
is again, like in every situation, how a particular intent is translated into action determines the success of that plan.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के एक साथ एक उनके साथ ये जो प्रॉब्लम है, ये दे मेकिंग द पॉलिसीज बहुत हैपहैज़र्ड के अंदर, ठीक है. उसके अंदर कई लोग, आप एडवाइस ले लीजिए, कई अच्छे लोग भी एडवाइस दे सकते हैं. बिफोर यू ब्रिंग द बिल, आप 25 लोगों की कमेटी बना लें, उस कमेटी के अंदर बैठ के डिस्कशन हो, then you bring the
You
bill.
believe that it is Modi Shah decision?
It is completely their decision.
Okay.
Completely their decision.
Okay.
And it's same decision as a demarcation वाला. Everybody on the line, 109 आदमी, 119 आदमी मर गए, uncountable. पैसा किधर गया नहीं मालूम. अब आज 19 आदमी, 30 आदमी इसमें.
The one thing which is I'll tell you very clearly, as a student of banking and finance and everything else, there are times when you have to take a hard measure, and that hard measure leads to inconvenience.
Sir,
to many.
hard measure for
that matter is over. Let's talk about the next step.
Sir, hard measure protest करने का right every Indian को है.
That protest has happened.
पुलिस उनको जिस तरह से मार रही है उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर, आप देखिए किस तरह से बच्चों को मारा जा रहा है, बच्चों को पॉइंट ब्लैंक के ऊपर गोली मारी जा रही है.
I don't want to get into a tutu meme on this situation.
No, but
you are talking about one instance, the second instant here there.
This need to be stopped.
I think Modi is smart enough to know what he's doing.
He better be smart enough, because the thing is,
even the wise men make mistakes all the time.
That's it. If he accepted.
That's it. Let's move to the next topic
Right.
part of it. The conversation I wanted to touch upon is the global part. We are very connected. India's recession or Chinese recession is not a function of only one country. It happens. Currency changes happen. Now, in the geopolitical sense, India has always been pro-Russia, and Russia has always stood by India. America, for obvious reasons, is trying to court India. And India needs American support for terrorism purposes and energy purposes. So I think that what Mr. Prime Minister needs to focus on, how to bring about India's solar efficiency to replace the fossil fuel part of it. As we all know now, that many car industries have switched to electrical. And very soon, Middle East will be left with oil and very little to consume. So those people are taking decisive steps against that. So what must Indian relationship with United States must focus on? There has been a growing relationship, strategic partnership, natural allies, big democracies and all that stuff. But at the real level, the growth in relationship is linked with one very important matter. 3 prominent democracies of the world today, Britain, US and India, they have elected leaders who are clearly right of center, clearly right of center, and they are pro-business people, right? Trump's success is all about revitalizing the business. I mean, record unemployment, low levels of unemployment, record employment for blacks and Hispanics and everybody else. He's broken all records. Whether you like him or not, his economy has been great. I mean, personal, whatever the thing, you can hold your opinion. Brexit. Boris Johnson is a conservative in Britain now. Prime Minister Modi, he is sabka saath, sabka vikas, but the tilt is towards business and productivity and employment and everything else. And they are going to be here for 5 years. If Trump wins in 2020, it's another 4 years.
Right.
Are we seeing a geopolitical situation in the left is becoming marginalized, or it is just a situation? Because there will be repercussions of migration in Europe as well. Your thoughts on that?
Right. No, definitely that's clearly a trend, given that we've seen it in these three big democracies, and going by how 2020 then ends with whether President Trump comes back for a second term or not. But I think for India and the US, if I can just specifically point to that, there are a lot of commonalities that the two countries can work together, given that their leaders, and we've seen the kind of rapport Prime Minister Modi and President Trump share. We've seen the Howdy Modi event, where in a sense, Prime Minister Modi hosted President Trump at this huge mega community event in Houston, again, an energy hub. Given the rapport that these leaders share, maybe their thinking align, how India and the US can use this beneficially for both the countries. I mean, energy, definitely, yes, there's so much the two countries can do. India has its own energy requirement and consumption, and you mentioned solar power. I mean, India gifted 193 solar panels to the United Nations. They have been installed on the UN roof, one for each of the UN General Assembly member. Yeah, it was $1 million contribution by India, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi when he was here in September for the UN General Assembly. So again, this signifies India's thinking, India's contribution, and its decision that renewable energy, solar energy is the focus to be. And if it is installing solar panels on the UN roof, definitely this is what India is focusing on in itself also. A billion people require a lot of energy, and all of that cannot come from all of that needs to be from renewable sources. So that's one aspect where India and the US can definitely work together. Defense, terrorism, counter-terrorism in the region from where India comes. I mean, Pakistani soil is still being used by terrorism, by terror organizations for terror attacks, not against India, but Afghanistan and the entire region. So that's one area where we have seen cooperation, like I mentioned, with the Masood Azhar listing, technology, entrepreneurship. So I think the list is long where India and the US can combine forces together. Throw in Europe as well. I mean, that's again an aspect where there's a lot of potential for bilateral and multilateral relations to go forward. And with these three leaders, given, as you mentioned, how their thinking is, they all want development, economic development for their own countries. They bring their own country first before they think of anybody else. I mean, that's again a very changed perspective of leadership that we are seeing now. For Trump, it's America first. I mean, people may hate him for what he says, people may love him for what he says, and does. But that's also what Prime Minister Modi's agenda is, India first. I mean, he's taken a lot of tough decisions which people are not happy with, which have made people uncomfortable. There's a lot of inconvenience. But I think his focus, as we've seen, whether it's with President Trump in Europe and in other countries as well, I think everybody is putting their nation first, their people first. They'll do what it takes to take their country forward, and then the rest can follow. So that's, I think, one line of thinking I see similar in. That's
what important part. And I'm coming to you with one other thought process. About these Hindu philosophy, Sanatan Dharma. India is 80% Hindu country, population there, and it's a secular country. It's a remarkably successful experiment of secularism in India. With occasional fracas, wo to hota hi rehta hai, har jagah hota hai. That's not. But he gave a very nice meaning to the Hindu philosophy, Sanatan philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Now, if you explain that term Everybody likes to talk about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, but nobody gets it. Because family is a very dynamic concept. In the family, you have to accept your bad brother, big sister, and you have to go along with, including Chacha who is in jail. You have to take care of everybody. The laggards, the performers, and everybody. The family is a very dynamic concept. That's why when parents pass away, the brothers fight to divide their assets. Yeah. That said, but Prime Minister Modi gave a brilliant new interpretation to the phrase Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam when he launched International Solar Alliance, when he said, one sun, one earth, one grid. Now that makes the concept understandable for everybody. From your point of view, Junaidji, you have been with BJP for a little while, with the Congress for a lot of while. My thing is that which part of Hindu philosophy do you think that the world must embrace and India must market that?
देखिए वसुधैव कुटुंबा विवेकानंद जी का शिकागो में था एंड पूरी दुनिया ने उनको सलाम किया और वही चीज़ मोदी जी ने बोली. नो डाउट प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी हैज़ अ करिश्मा एंड जो फ्रेंडशिप यूएस इंडिया की है, वी ऑल इंडियन प्राउड ऑफ दैट. वी आर सिटिंग इन अमेरिका, वी आर रिस्पेक्टेड सिटीजन और द वर्कर और वट एवर यू कैन इमिग्रेंट ओवर हियर. सो लेकिन उसको आपने ग्लोबली कर लिया, लेकिन अपने घर में स्टेबिलिटी लाना पड़ेगी. प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी को अपने घर के अंदर से शुरुआत घर से होती. अगर कंट्री में स्टेबिलिटी होगी, सबका साथ सबका विकास होगा, कंट्री आप दुनिया में राज करेंगे. लेकिन अगर आप ये सोचेंगे कि 80% हिंदू हैं, मुझे 80% हिंदू का वोट चाहिए, आई डोंट केयर अबाउट 20% दलित और मुस्लिम वटेवर, मैं उनका प्राइम मिनिस्टर नहीं हूँ, वो कभी भी सक्सेसफुल.
I would strongly disagree with you. I don't think Modi is doing that.
सुनिए तो अगर
he has never made a single statement against any ethnicity.
अगर देखिए, अगर ये चीज़ नहीं होती तो उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर योगी कभी इतनी हरकत नहीं कर सकते थे. अगर ये उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर जो हो रहा है, आज हो रहा है, वो कभी योगी कर नहीं सकते थे. प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने स्टेज के ऊपर बोला कि भाई मुझे मालूम है उनके कलर कौन से हैं, कपड़े कौन से पहने. दैट वाज द पिन पॉइंट कि आप किसको बोल रहे हैं. आप ही देखिए, अगर प्राइम मिनिस्टर आप एक के हैं, सबके हैं. योगी ने बोला कि मैं बदला लूंगा उनसे, तो आप चीफ मिनिस्टर एक स्टेट के हैं कि आप सिर्फ एक सर्कुलर.
What did he say about?
जी,
be careful about that part. I mean, it's for educated people to sway with emotion.
It's not. It's on a record.
Fair.
It's on a record.
No, it's not fair.
It's on a record.
No, it's on the record. What I'm saying is, when he's talking about, he's saying that those people who caused damage to public property have to pay back.
जी.
Is that a wrong thing or right thing?
क्यों आपके
no, just say yes or no.
ठीक बिल्कुल
ठीक है ना.
पहले सुनिए,
who did the violence and who did the destruction of property? You have to be cognizant.
सर मैं कॉलेज में था, हमारे टाइम में बसें टूटती थी, हम बसें तोड़ते थे. जब झगड़े होते थे, हम प्रोटेस्ट करते थे, तो गवर्नमेंट की बसें के ऊपर कांच फोड़ते थे. हमसे पैसा क्यों नहीं लिया गया? आज क्यों उनको परसिक्यूटेड करा जा रहा है?
Because you have to bring about a discipline. You cannot destroy public property. If you do that in the United States, you have a serious
मुझे
problem.
बताइए, उत्तर प्रदेश में 66 दुकानों को सील कर दिया गया और उनको नोटिस दे दिए गए कि आप जो बसें फूटी हैं, आप 1.5 लाख.
So you say सरकारी बसेस को जला दो, पैसे मत लो, ठीक है?
नहीं, आपके पास लॉ एंड ऑर्डर है, पुलिस है, आप पुलिस और बढ़ा देते वहां पे. आप पुलिस की आप एक कंपनी और खड़ी कर देते, तो कभी इस तरह की हरकत होती नहीं.
Again,
आप प्रिकॉशंस ले लेते.
that back and forth on पुलिस की एक कंपनी और ला देते, वो कहीं और जाके करते. कहाँ कंपनी भेजोगे? This is the country where, because of the size of the electorate, you hold elections in a 1 month time because the security forces have to reach places to places. Police and public proportionality is not 1-to-1. It's different. Now, as in every conversation, they have to have a time limit and it has to come to an end. We have reached that point. What a fabulous conversation. I enjoyed. I hope you did too.
Yes,
so thank you, Junaid Bhai, for
you,
supporting the program and coming over today on the first program of the year. And Yoshita ji, I'm delighted to have you and hear your perspective. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful 2020 and beyond. See you again next week.